What's up, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. I am your co-host today, Jordan Comstock. With me, I got Naren. What is up, Naren? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jordan. Every time I see you, I know we're going to have fun. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Let's do it. Yeah, we're gonna have a rocking time. What a quick announcement. We are doing the Insurance Untangled virtual event. We're going to be talking about how to avoid the mistakes in 2024 and beyond. I'm going to be talking about membership plan mistakes, and the biggest one is not doing one. Naren's going to
Yeah.
be talking about marketing mistakes, and Ben is going to be talking about mistakes when it comes to negotiating and working with PPOs. It's going to be an awesome event. We have panelists. We have people that are going to be really bringing some education. Naren, how many we're doing? It's a CE event, right? How many CE? Or are we
Yeah.
doing? Is it just an education event?
It is a CE event. You get 3 hours of CE. And the idea is, you have fun, you learn something, and now you can also take what you learned and apply it hopefully the next day. So we're going to have
Cool.
some experts, you, me, lots of other experts, and we're going to go deep. We're going to talk about the biggest mistakes that practices make. And between all the people who are going to be speaking at this event, we have worked with thousands of practices. So we know the do's
Yeah.
and the don'ts. And
It's
so the idea is to like avoid the don't. So I'm going to get into marketing mistakes. You're going to, I guess, talk about membership plan mistakes,
yeah.
insurance, like insurance mistakes. So we're going to get into all the don'ts. And that way, if you see one of those don'ts, stop doing them. Just by stopping doing
Just
something, you're
stop.
going to
Yeah.
make more money, right? In other words, you're going to make your life easier and make more money by making your life easier.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
I love it. It's going to be March 1st, 2024. And you can sign up and register on insuranceuntangled.com. So go there, register, and come hang out with us and get some CE and some education on all the great stuff we're going to be talking about. Naren, I'm pumped to be talking about the topic today. We're going to be talking about what is your conversion rate, practice owners. This is a really, really important topic. One topic I look at in my business every day, and every week, and every month, and every quarter. It's a very important part of the revenue funnel management. And yes, dental practices, you have revenue funnels that you need to keep an eye on, which is why I'm really excited to talk about with this about conversion rates with Naren today. So let's get to it, dude. The average dental practice books 1/3 of new patient callers into new patient appointments. What's the reason for that?
This is a great question. I think there's lots and lots of reasons for that. And the
Hmm.
number one reason is they don't know how well they're doing, right? So I'll give you an
Sure.
example that we can all understand. Most of us either are parents or were parents to young kids. My kids are kind of grown up. One is 18, almost 18, and one is 21. Jordan, you have young kids.
I
Imagine
got
they go to
young
school.
rascals. Yeah.
Imagine they go to school and you want them to, do well in school. They never get grades. They never get marks. Like,
Sure.
how can they improve, right? Like, I mean, if they're never told you're getting 45 for this exam or 79 for the other exam, how do they know where they stand, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at dental practices, most of them have no idea where they stand when it comes to how the phone is being handled, right? Literally no idea. They all think they do. And the way they think they do is they ask their team itself. It's like asking your son or daughter, hey, how are you doing on math? Oh, I think I'm doing great.
We're doing great. Whatever.
Right?
I want to go
Of course,
play.
if you're doing great, I'll buy you ice cream. So of course I'm doing great, as opposed to looking at the test report, looking at the grade at the end of the semester, right? Then you really know if he's doing great or if he's not doing great. So that's
Sure.
kind of
Yeah.
what happens in dental practices. They ask the person doing the job how well they're doing. And I haven't yet to meet somebody who says, I'm doing a crappy job. So of course, every dentist thinks the phone is answered perfectly and they have no idea how well it's going. You're going to say something, Jordan.
Yeah. No, what you measure, you improve, right? And this is why I love this topic, is because it's such an important part of the practice, the business, is to know your conversion rates and what's going on with your calls. Like my dad, when I managed my dad's dental lab, he would always say, the phone is our number one tool for growing this business and making sure that we, you know, hit our revenue targets. And it's so true for all businesses, including mine today. Like we use the phones all the time, and we're always looking at conversion rates through our phone calls. So let's
Let
go
me
through
let me
the
let me
number.
add a couple of quick points, Jordan.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm going to just list down the question you asked me is why is that one third of dental the average practice only converts one third of new patient callers into
Hmm.
appointments, right?
Yeah.
Why is that? I'm just going to rattle off a bunch of reasons, and then I guess we can go into deep depth.
Perfect.
Number one reason by far is they don't know what their missed call percentage is. Like literally, this is still a problem with a lot of practices. Let's say you get 100 calls, only 70 of them are getting answered, which means the other 30 people, they're only voicemails. You never hear from them. You don't even know who
Yeah.
these people are. They never show up. So step one is figure out what your missed call percentage is. So the way we define a missed call is if the call is less than 30 seconds, there's a very good chance that was not a good conversation. More than likely, by the time ring, 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 10 seconds gone, nobody answered, then the person hangs up. So it's any call that's less than 30 seconds typically is a missed call. And of course, there's other ways to figure out missed calls. So figure out what your missed call percentage is. Second thing you need to figure out is conversion rate itself, which is of all the new patient callers you're getting, what percentage of them are actually booking? Now, if it's a missed call, you don't even know that they're a new patient because you never heard them. But assuming you answered the call and you had a conversation, find out how many of those callers came from potential new patients. Again, you have to listen to them. Write down exactly call by call by call. You know how whether it was booked or not booked. So figure out your conversion rate. Other reasons could be training, right? Your team is not trained. Another reason could be you have the wrong people in the wrong seat. Like they're
Yeah.
not the right people to be on the phones, but they are, right? So there's all kinds of reasons, but the number one is, and number two is the missed call percentage and the conversion rate. Not knowing those
Sure.
two numbers.
So yeah, let's go for the first reason, like not knowing that they are missing calls. Like how, like let's talk about that. That seems to be like a huge issue.
Yeah, I have seen practices that are missing 42% of their new patient calls, 56% of their new patient calls.
Goodness.
I mean, think about it, right? You spend all this time, all this money on marketing, and you don't even answer the phone, right?
Yeah, that's
You
a
know,
that's a gap in the revenue funnel right there.
that is a gap, right? And like you talked about, I mean, I think funnel is a good way to think about it, right? What is a funnel? You put
Yeah.
water at the top and then water comes out at the bottom, right? And
Yep.
imagine having leaks along those funnels. Now, instead of it coming out at the bottom, which is your new
Sides
patients, they are
missing the
kind of
ball. Yeah.
leaking from the funnel, right?
Yeah.
And missed call percentage is a leak, right? You don't even answer the call. So how can they ever become your new patients, right? I mean, in
Well,
the
and if
old
you
days,
think there, oh, sorry, if you think, if you're missing that many calls and those calls are brought to you by a marketing company that you're paying, that's a lot of wasted money that the marketing company is delivering value, but then it's just falling on the wayside when it gets to a phone call. That means lots of lost like investment in your marketing function. Like that's a huge issue.
absolutely. And one thing I realized is, at the end of the day, customers need real new patients, right? So,
Yeah,
so we don't stop at just driving new patients calls to you. We actually look into this. We'll tell you when you have a problem. So we have technology that automatically will let you every time your call is missed. Literally within 1 second, you will get a text message or an email saying, "Hey, you guys missed this call." So now the manager is alerted, you are alerted, you can call back. We'll give you reports, as to, oh, hey, you're missing most of your calls between 11 a.m. and 12 noon on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If you fix that, you're going to solve this half of this problem. So okay, find out why it's happening in those times and figure out what the solution is. Sometimes it's a tech issue. Sometimes like your lines cannot handle more than 2 calls, and anytime a third person is on the line, it's going to voicemail directly, right? So you need to be on top of this. You can't just check it once and forget it. It's like, imagine you check your son's report card or your daughter's report card once and you forget it for the next 12 years. I don't think that son is going to do too well or the daughter is going to do too well, right? You have to stay engaged in it.
yeah,
Same way, make sure you know what your missed call percentage is every month and see if it's the range is, the A practice, the really good practice would miss less than 5%. A B is 5 to 10%. So that's what you want to aim for. And I know you'll get pushback. Well, these are all bad people. That's why we don't answer the call. I mean, most people can't read minds. And I think it's
sure.
better to answer the call, even if it's a, salesperson and say, we
Yeah,
don't
even if
take
it's a
unsolicited
boom
calls,
sales
and then
rep,
hang up
answer.
politely.
Even if that salesperson is a Boom Cloud sales rep, just answer
Answer it.
it.
Exactly. And then, of course, if you want to talk to Boom Cloud because you know Boom Cloud, then of course talk to them. But if you don't, say politely, say, thank you for calling, but we don't take unsolicited calls, and then hang up. But my point is, don't give your team reasons to say, oh, yes, but, yes, but. Yes, but is the number one killer in practices.
And just growth in general.
Yes,
Yes, but finding the excuses, like find the solutions versus
exactly.
the excuses. Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. So my next question for you, uh, what about conversion rate? So do most practices know their conversion rate? I know every time I've talked to them, the math doesn't make funnel math sense, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree. I would say 95% of the practices do not know their conversion rate. Like
Yeah.
imagine 95% of the parents don't get
Wow.
the grade for their kids. You know what I mean? Like that would be unacceptable. There'll be revolt, right? I mean, probably like the government will be overthrown if that's the case.
Yeah.
But that's what they live with in their dental practices. They have no idea. And they go and ask, it's like asking your kids, how well are you doing? Oh, I'm getting all A's. So I'm
And
getting
they're great.
perfect scores. They're great.
We have a phrase here at Boom Cloud. We say it's very important to have data integrity. And when
Yes.
we say that, we're talking about the revenue funnel and the metrics that we're measuring. Um, because a lot of the times, and I've seen this too, where I've talked to previous sales reps that and leaders that were here, and I'm like, hey, how are we doing as a sales team? Like, oh, we're doing great. And it was all like emotion based and no
Yeah.
data backing it up. And the minute I started checking the data and getting data integrity, I realized that they weren't doing great. That was just a emotional sentiment that my leaders at the time just felt. It's like, oh yeah, the team's happy, everyone's doing great. It's like, well, no, we got to look at the numbers and
Yeah.
make sure we understand what we're doing is working. And that's a big problem with people, Naren. I'm sure you've seen this. I know
Yeah.
I have a lot where people uh, talk about the success of the conversion funnel, it's called, or the revenue funnel, but it's based off of their emotions and not off of data, real
Yeah. And
data.
then I see, A players or A practices, and I see C practices or C players in even within my company.
Yeah.
A practices are data driven, right? Because think about
Yes.
it. Even if you're getting 30 out of 100, the fact that you know you're getting 30 out of 100 now means you can do something. You know what I mean?
Yes, you can
And then
improve
now
it.
that 30 goes to 40, that's a 33% improvement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Yes, that's
matter where you
awesome.
start. It doesn't matter how bad things are. Just data is like something to hold on to because once you can
Yeah.
hold on to it, you can now pull yourself towards it.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's the key. So I think some people, especially the ones who are struggling, going around in circles, they are kind of afraid of data. It's almost like they don't want the sun to shine and like show all the problems, right? So they like
Yeah.
to hide in the shades and whatnot. So if as the practice leader, practice owner, I mean, you are an owner, I'm an owner, everyone
Yeah.
listening to this is an owner. You need to create an environment where data is just part of how they do things, just like your kids have to have data. I mean, if that's good enough for a 7-year-old, why isn't it why isn't it
Yeah.
acceptable for a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old, right? It's interesting.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so let's like super important this data, this number, the tracking. So practices that are maybe listening, they're like, oh, okay, I'm a little stressed hearing this. How can I improve my conversion rate and missed call percentage?
Absolutely. So one of the things we do with all of our clients at no extra cost, and I assume your marketing company is doing it, is there needs to be tracking, right? And there needs to be
Yes.
tracking. So A, how many calls are coming in from what marketing, right? How many are coming from SEO, how many are coming from ads and so forth. And then B, if those calls are missed or not, right? So you need to know the missed call percentage. And then you need to know the conversion rate. So we have now started at no extra cost. We believe in this all-inclusive price model. Even listening to calls, let's say a client, according to logic, should get 35 new patients, but they're only getting 10. With their permission, because of HIPAA, we would listen to calls. Again, we use technology, AI, etc., and
Yeah, that's
start
cool.
providing insights like, okay, here are the calls that did not book. Here is your conversion rate. Now the client has something to hold on to, right? So, okay, my conversion rate is 40%, meaning out of 100 new patients, I'm only booking 40. That is like life-changing for a lot of practice owners. They're like, okay, now I know what the problem is. So me putting $10,000 more into marketing is not what I need to do. Rather, I just need to make sure these 60% of the people who are not booking appointments, at least two-thirds of them or half of them are booking appointment, which will literally increase my business like double or whatever the
Sure.
number of my business, right? So without spending an extra cent, they're getting extra patients. And also it creates a culture of excellence. The minute it's like, I'm sure you've heard the story when Rudy Giuliani became the mayor of New York, right?
Uh-huh.
New York was considered the worst place on planet Earth for crime and everything else, murders, you name
Sure.
it. Like
Yeah.
it was nasty and like pretty scary. And he didn't go after the murderers. You know what he did?
I
He
don't
went
know.
after the people who were painting graffiti. He went after the people who were jumping and not paying for their train tickets, right?
Hmm.
So the idea was that if you can get rid of the small crime, because think about it, who are the murderers? It's like they graduate. That guy who does graffiti or the guy who jumps the
They
train and not
evolve.
pays tickets, then they're all like break in, let's steal something. Oh, now stealing turns into, oh, let's take a gun and steal something bigger. And, just escalates, right? So if
Yeah.
you want to cut this, you need to cut where it starts. So he started with these small things. So one of the things I notice is like, imagine you start, let's say your practice sucks. Okay. You are like the average dental practice and only one-third of new patients are booking appointments. It doesn't matter. Don't get emotional about this. At least now you can take it from one-third of new patients booking to maybe 35% booking, 40%
Yeah.
booking. It's only a small improvement, but now you're starting to change the trajectory of their future. That's how he changed New York's trajectory when he was the mayor. Like he started with the little stuff, the little metrics, and then before you know it, it created a culture where you don't do this in New York and get away with it. So now everybody just start paying attention, because if they're catching somebody who didn't pay $2 for a subway ticket, then what else are they going to, how tough are they going to be on the other stuff?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
Send the message clearly, like we
Interesting.
do not tolerate anything that's not according to our law. Period. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
whether it's $2 or doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter. Like, we don't tolerate it. And that starts changing your culture. And it's almost like every
It
practice
does.
that goes through this, process of improving their conversion rate, they become a much better practice, not just on conversion rate, but pretty much on everything else. It
Sure.
creates like a snowball effect.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So we know, speaking about phone calls being one of the biggest issues, we know, some team members are better at using the phone than others. How do we find the talented people that could speak on the phone and really make it work for the practice?
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is key, right? Another huge problem in a lot of practices is they have the wrong people doing the wrong things,
Yeah.
right? Like Jordan is awesome. Again, I'm putting you on the spot here, Jordan. You're an
All
awesome
right.
person in front of the people, in front of the group, right? You can get in front of a podium, speak. Are
Yeah.
you a great executive assistant who can keep track of 17 details
No
and make sure
way.
those things are happening?
No way.
I wouldn't hire you, even if you said
Thank you.
I'll
Yeah, I
pay.
would not, I would not add value to you in
Yeah,
that role.
exactly, right? So is there anything wrong with Jordan? No, it's just that's not his capability. That's not his passion. That's not his skill set, right? That's
Yep.
not what makes him want to get up in the morning. But there are
No
some
way.
people who love organizing and love,
Yeah.
every detail, right? So just the key is finding people who love this. So who is awesome at this? Number one, you are a people person. You love people. You love talking to people. Your eyes light up every time you see somebody and you give them a hug and you just enjoy people, right? So that's key, because usually people can feel that over the phone. Like, are you excited? Are you, like, are you like happy you're here, or are you just like going through emotions and answering my questions and trying to get rid of me from the phone, right? If I get the feeling like you're happy you're here and you're so excited I call you and you really get to know me and find out what my name is, find out why I'm calling, and oh, I just moved here, talk to me and like build a rapport. Now I'm already sold and I'm already in, like your practice, and I already want to come to your practice. I can't wait to come and, meet this person and meet these people, this person and this practice represents, as opposed to, I've seen calls, we listen to, millions of calls every year, and not listen, but we track. And then, of course, we listen to some of them and we have problems. Um, as opposed to somebody who's just answering questions, going through their emotions, their tone of voice is down, right? So get people who love people, who are excited about people. Also, they have to have confidence, right? And confidence can come
Sure.
from knowledge. And some people are just confident, right? Like you put them in a new
Naturally.
situation, they're naturally confident. Because imagine, right? If somebody is confident when they're answering versus not, who are you going to believe? The confident person or the not confident person?
Sure.
So those are the two
Absolutely.
things I look for, and you can use test tools like DISC, DISC. So pretty much a high I, which is like usually people person. That would be perfect. Somewhat of a mid high D, which is like decisive. That will be also
Yeah.
good. But definitely the people side is the number one. They should enjoy people. They should love people. They should want to help people.
Sure. So, Naren, as I'm thinking about this, like, what about training? I know this is important. We train our team all the time on phone calls, and what are some of the common training mistakes and things they should be doing to train their team?
Absolutely. Coming back to this, how do we keep 95% of our clients? Let's say, like you use the word funnel, right? Let's say this is the part of the funnel that have a leakage, meaning their conversion
Sure.
rate is low or missed call percentage is high. So number one, for those clients, we recommend that we send a monthly report with these data, right? Conversion
Mhm.
rate and missed call percentage. And we give them 6 calls, 3 good calls, 3 bad calls. So the other thing we recommend is definitely the office manager, along with the front desk team, should listen to these 6 calls. Again,
Yeah.
nobody's criticizing anybody, just play the recording, play the call, right? And then let the person who answered the call say, what are they doing right? What can they improve? And over time in these conversations, we also start giving them a framework. So, for example, the beginning, introduce yourself by name, find out what the patient's name is, use the patient's name, get to know the patient, build a rapport. Like, why are they calling? If they moved into town, like, just talk about that. Just build a rapport, right? We like people who are interested in us, right? Dale Carnegie said that.
Sure.
So get interested in them, get interested in their stories, get interested in their lives, not just answering questions and being a robot. And then once you know their stories, once you understand them, reassure them. Like they call the right office. Yes, you have helped many people like them. Of course, if it's not true, don't say it. Like, let's say they're
Sure.
calling for veneers. You have a lot of veneer cases. By the way, when you hang up, please go and check out our veneer page. You'll see all those cases, right? So reassure them. Talk about you have been doing veneers for the last 15 years. Like reassure them. And then finally ask for an appointment. So there's a playbook. So when we work with our clients and they're struggling, I mean, not all of our clients, some do, then we give them the playbook and then we give them this data on a monthly basis. Then every month they listen. They listen to these 6 calls, they figure out as a team what they can do to improve. And they set a target. So they say, okay, our conversion rate right now is 40%. Team, let's try to get to 45%. Or best case 50%. I know it's not 100%. That's okay. We're just going to make improvements. We're all
Yeah.
going to work towards it. Then come back and listen. Are those things we talked about, are they still happening? Are we getting slightly better? Are we getting slightly better? Is our conversion rate getting better? And you just do it month after month after month for 6 months, you will start improving. Now, the very best practices, they do it by default, even when they are converting 90% of their calls. See, the best never want to stop tracking, never want to stop improving. They're constantly improving. For them, 90% is still not good enough. They're striving for 91%, 92%. So, I mean, that's typically how our best act. But if you are in a turnaround situation, I still think, just listening to the calls and improving them on a monthly basis is the critical thing for success.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that, Aaron. So let's say I'm a practice owner. I want to learn more about call tracking. What's the best way to get started on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, at no extra cost, we'll do what we call a marketing strategy meeting where we'll analyze everything, including how well you're doing online. And of course, we'll get into details on how we go about doing it. So you learn some best practices around call tracking. What are the metrics? How do you get the data? How do you, work with this data to continue to improve your conversion rate? And of course, whether you work with us or not, if you work with us, that's all included. That's part of our service. If you don't, you still get the information. And now make sure whoever your current marketing company is not only exceptional at SEO, not only exceptional at, building amazing websites and amazing landing pages that convert, new patients into callers, but then also amazing at, tracking these metrics and helping you improve these metrics. Because If you have a hole in your funnel or a leak in your funnel, you're going to waste a lot of money, right? So the goal is to start plugging these holes and continue plugging these holes till you have no hole.
Love it.
So the link is insuranceuntangled.com/MSM, www.insuranceuntangled.com/MSM. Please make sure you go there and book the marketing strategy meeting, and looking forward to seeing you. And, I'm sure one of our team members would work with you and, answer all your questions and help you come up with your marketing strategy.
Awesome. Love it, Aaron. Thank you for all the tips. I hope this was, I feel like it was really useful and valuable for our practice owners listening and office managers listening. Just a reminder, go to the insuranceuntangledcom website and register for our event on March 1st, 2024. And if you're loving the show, we always appreciate reviews. Make them funny, please. Maybe make a joke about me or Ben. That would be awesome in the reviews. So with that said, we hope you guys have a rocking day.